Yo, what's good YouTube? It's obviously been quite a long time since I posted my last video, to which all I can say is that I apologise. I've been focusing far more on streaming on Twitch and uploading on TikTok. The links to both of those will be in the description below if you want to come check me out. Now for those of you who don't know who I am, hello, my name is Ecliptic and I am a Ghostface main. I've been playing Dead by Daylight for quite a long time now and I would consider myself a fairly good Ghostface player. Now maining Ghostface in this current stage of the game is really quite a challenging experience and quite a painful experience at times, but in today's video I wanted to dive deeper into why that is. I feel like you don't see as many Ghostface mains in this game anymore, and I do think it probably has something to do with how weak of a killer he is in the modern era. With Ghostface being such a pinnacle character in the horror genre, you would imagine that he would have a much higher pick rate in a game like Dead by Daylight, where the fans finally have a chance to play as the killer they watch in the movies. Now while the Ghostface's pick rate isn't that bad, being 11th in the game, the kill rate is actually staggeringly low on this killer. The Ghostface's current kill rate is the 7th worst in the game, which is really low. And I think I can boil it down to 3 categories why his kill rate is so low and why his pick rate is lower than it could be. I'm going to address each of these categories one by one and really try and go into some good detail as to why I think this, so please sit back, relax and let me talk you through it. The first reason why I think his kill rate is so low is because of his chase potential. DBD in its current state is very much a cat and mouse game between the killer and the survivors. The main concept on how you kill people in Dead by Daylight is quite simple. The killer finds the survivor runs away, the killer chases them, and then they down them eventually. The main goal for a killer is for the chases to last as short as possible, and the main goal for a survivor is to extend the chase for as long as possible. Now some killers are really good for this, killers like Nurse and Blight, who have powers dedicated around chases and making them as short as they possibly can be as long as their power is used well. And then there are killers like Artist, who have really good zoning abilities which really restrict where a survivor can move in order to get easy downs. There are even some killers like the Spirit, where the whole point of their power is to mind game the survivors, and it allows you to get easy downs because the survivors can lose your mind games quite easily if they don't think hard enough. And react correctly to your mind games, of course. This is where a killer like Ghostface really struggles, because he does not have an ability in his toolkit which allows him to get those chases really short, or to shorten the length of a chase at all really. Ghostface is referred to in the community as something called an M1 killer, which means the only way he can deal a health state to a survivor is by M1ing them, clicking your left click or hitting your right trigger on a console and swinging your weapon normally. This, combined with the fact that he does not have an ability to give him enhanced speed or allow him to have any real anti-loop in a chase, so to prevent a loop from happening or to force the survivor into a different place, really makes him struggle in chase. I am on the record for saying that you should never commit to chases on Ghostface, or not unless really specific conditions are met. The really specific conditions that I'm talking about are if you can't down the survivor within 30 seconds to 45 seconds of a chase, or unless you are in a really strong and winning condition in the game, then you should not be chasing on Ghostface. Strong survivors and good swifts will be able to read your mind games from a mile away, because all you are is a basic M1 killer, and this makes chasing on Ghostface extremely risky. And even running full chase builds on Ghostface won't exactly help with this all the time, and I'll get into the reason why that is in the next point, but for this point I would like to carry on with saying that Ghostface's chase potential is really low. The chase potential on a stronger killer, or a statistically stronger killer like Nurse and Blight, is much higher, because they can get these downs in chase really quickly. They don't have to worry about committing to chases. This means that taking chases on Ghostface is very risky, and you're opening yourself up to the fact that you may end up having a chase that lasts that long that it allows survivors to get a lot of progress during the game. While this clearly explains why his kill rate is so low, because a lot of people are trying to chase on Ghostface and failing, I also think that it might explain why his pick rate might be a bit lower than it could be, because nobody enjoys losing chases, and those long grueling chases on killer can be really draining. Now most people will respond to this by saying just run chase perks and run a full chase build even in some cases, but then this ties in really well to my next point, which is Ghostface really struggles with map pressure. Ghostface's only ability is his Night Shroud ability, which allows him to stalk survivors, making them marked, and that exposes them, which means that you only require one hit in order to down them. This means that Ghostface's map pressure tends to be quite weak unless you really know how to use his kit in order to generate pressure, and even then it's not that obvious. While it may sound good and sound like Ghostface has an insta-down ability, it's not the same kind of insta-down as other killers that are a bit stronger, such as Billy or Oni. As for the Billy's power can be used whenever he wants to, and there is nothing that the survivors can do to prevent him from using his ability. It also gives great mobility, which is also something that the Oni has with his power, even though his you do have to charge. But Ghostface is a stealth killer, which means you do have to have an element of stealth or careful planning when using his ability, because survivors can quite literally pull you out of it just by looking at you. Not to mention the fact it's not like you can pop stealth mode and then insta-down anyone you want. You actually have to take the time to stalk them first, which is easy for the survivors to counter if they just block line of sight. This leads to a lot of Ghostface players, such as myself, running a lot of slowdown and regression perks in order to try and keep the map pressure quite constant throughout the game. It's also important that you have some kind of info on Ghostface, because you need to know where to go next. You don't have the mobility to traverse the map and patrol the gens as quick as some other killers because you don't have a mobility power. Ghostface's lack of mobility and good map pressure means that his overall pressure throughout the game is actually really bad if you don't know how to use his power to generate that pressure. And even those good Ghostfaces that do know how to generate pressure with his ability, they tend to lean towards running regression perks and slowdown perks anyway, just to ensure that they keep that pressure throughout the game. Ghostface might be a very simple killer with a simple power, but he is much more tactical than people realise. One chase that lasts too long, one M1 you shouldn't have done where you maybe should have stalked, is really enough to ruin a game for you in serious cases. Now all of this really shows how bad his map pressure can be if you don't know how to use his power, and in general a lot of the people that are playing Ghostface won't be thinking this deep into how to play the killer. This ties perfectly into the final point why I think Ghostface's kill rate is so low and why his pick rate could be a bit higher than it is, and that is his overall fun value, how fun it is to play the killer. For everyone watching this video that plays a variety of killers, I want you to think of the last time you played Billy, Blight, Nurse, anyone like that, anyone with a quick chase power or an anti-loot power or a mobility power. Chances are, whether you switched your brain off completely and lost the game, or whether you really locked in and got a 4K at 5 gens, you had fun in the chases that you took part in. You probably had some good chases, you probably had some bad chases, but the overall consensus is you probably had fun during the game at least some points. Even if you were annoyed by a loss, then you probably had fun while you were playing. This is why Ghostface is probably considered less fun for the community to play. Ghostface, in most cases, is very much in it for the slow game. You've kind of got to stretch the game out quite far in order to see success on this killer, at least against a strong Swift or a strong set of survivors. If you chase on Ghostface and lose the chase because you're against a strong survivor that recognises the fact that you're just an M1 killer and all they have to do is loop you for a while, then chances are you were getting really annoyed at this experience, knowing there was nothing that you could do to stop it. Ghostface is a stealth killer, and playing stealthy with no chase ability isn't something that people tend to enjoy when playing killer. A lot of killer players, especially casual killer players, will be in it for the fast downs and the quick chases and the more fun and exciting gameplay that you get from winning a chase and that liberating feeling you get from downing that one really annoying survivor. The fact that a lot of people will not enjoy playing a killer like this means that the kill rate is probably lower due to the fact that people get very demoralized while playing as him. This will lead to people leaning towards these stronger killers or the killers with a more interesting ability such as the Ghoul, the Dredge, anyone like that, and is ultimately a big contributing factor as to why I think his kill rate is so low. The demoralization that you can get whilst playing this killer. With all this being said, this might beg the question, well, why do you play Ghostface? Why do you want to play this killer that you think so low of or think is so weak? Why don't you want to go and play the other killers, the stronger killers? And the main reason for that is because I don't mind the slow gameplay. I don't mind the stealth gameplay. I really enjoy the stealth gameplay. Although there are other stealth killers in the game, I see Ghostface as the stealth killer. I don't think there is any other killer that has this stealth like Ghostface. To me, he is the pinnacle of stealth in Dead by Daylight, and it is a playstyle that I really enjoy. I really like the fact that every decision I make on this killer matters maybe more than any other killer. How my mistakes on this killer are going to be so much more dire because it makes me think, it makes me curious, it makes me wonder what I can and can't get away with. I think that Ghostface is a very flow state killer. Once the ball gets rolling and the game gets going, you just lock in and you have this moment of I know what's going to happen, I know what I need to do, and then you can just execute it. I have been playing this killer for 6 years and I have seen him in all sorts of different strengths. Even though his ability hasn't changed that much or changed at all really, I've seen him in all different sides sides of the meta, and I have always really enjoyed playing as him. Playing Ghostface isn't always easy, it's not always a walk in the park, and it requires a lot of concentration, focus, and good decision making. All of this comes with experience, which I like to think that I have a lot of playing this killer for as long as I have. I have had moments where I have really not enjoyed playing Ghostface and have gone to other killers for a bit, but I always found myself coming back because I really liked the Ghostface playstyle, which is a playstyle within itself. Again, I understand how ridiculous this sounds to say about such a basic M1 killer, but if you don't believe what I'm saying is true, then I urge all of you to go and try Ghostface. After playing a few games, having wins and losses, and going against stronger and stronger survivors, you will start to understand what I mean, and you'll see what I mean when I say that Ghostface has his own playstyle in order to perform well. And that is why I think the Ghostface's kill rate is struggling, not just because he's a basic M1 killer, but because people don't have fun playing as him, and that leads to a lot of demoralization and a lack of hope in playing this killer, so people tend to just give up. Now, of course, while I believe this to be true, it is down to an opinion. If you disagree with me, please let me know in the comments. If you have any other arguments, please let me know. I would love to hear what you have to say about this. If you are a player wanting to get better at Ghostface, or wanting to learn how to play Ghostface, or just wanting somebody to watch who does play Ghostface, please do consider subscribing. I post a lot of Ghostface content. I am considering dropping a Ghostface guide soon, so anyone who's interested in that, please let me know. But with that being said, I think that ties up everything I wanted to say in this video. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for watching. Please come check me out on Twitch and TikTok. The links will both be in the description. I hope you enjoyed. I hope this was helpful, and I hope to see you again soon.